When you study Buddhism, go to the Buddhist society, Buddhist community, one of the obvious word and actions and deeds, you will see that making merit. And for a lot of people might be confusing, how do you make merit? Merit is something beneficial, something, and how do you do that? So it's more or less, and a lot of people look at the merit in kind of a economic perspective. So you give food to the monk, is making merit. You donate something to build a temple, it's become making merit. In fact, I think that is getting too much kind of economical point of view. The word merit is called Puñña in Pali. The Puñña in Pali is actually, it is a very original word in India, even before the Buddha's time. The Puñña means cleansing. It means cleansing or purifying. So in the time of the Buddha, even prior to the Buddha, all this Brahmin at the time, they used to go to all the river bank, and then they go and they do some ritual called purifying ritual. They go and bathe themselves in the water, and then they said that is a way of making merit, purifying themselves. And the Buddha, when they saw that actions, that way of practice, Buddha then asked that, oh, I see. Then all the bad things you have done, if you just dip into the water, you are cleansed. So what about all the turtles, the fishes, the snakes, what about all these animals who live in the water? It means that they are pure all the time. If you want to do some bad things, so you go and do in the middle of the water, then we don't feel any sin then. So it is, all those things cannot be cleansed by just dipping the water. So he said that, okay, the punya means cleanse, and generally in Hindi, in Indian tradition, if the bank where you go and bathe for the purifying ritual, that bank is called Puñña Tirtha. Tirtha is a bank, and Puñña means that the cleansing. There's a cleansing bank. So there's the sin cleansing bank. It's all around the rivers, you can find everywhere. So then Buddha says that, well, if you are thinking in that way, there's not possible at all. So he said that punya, the merit is, cleansing is right, but it's not a body cleansing, but it's one of mental cleansing, it's a mind cleansing, it's a mental cleansing. So what makes our mind dirty then? What makes our mind kind of defiled then? Then Buddha says that, okay, what makes our mind defiled is the greed, the hatred, and the aversion, the ignorance. So all these three mental defilements is something which make our mind dirty. So the whole idea of a punya, making punya, means that you have to cleanse that greed out of your mind. You have to cleanse your hatred out of mind. You have to clean your ignorance out of mind, and that is what you call it true punya from the Buddha's point of view. Not dipping in the water, not taking bathing in the water. So that is how Buddha defined the punya. In some discourses, the punya, the word merit, also is a synonym for the word happiness. So these are the Pali-based meaning. But the people, when they use it in the Buddhist community, it's become a merit making. It's become a more kind of material based kind of doing something, but doing something in a sense that it's kind of investment. And that is, I think, a wrong translation, wrong interpretation of the word punya as merit making. Of course, when people in Thailand, in many Buddhist countries, when you go there, you will see the people are giving food in the alms bowl. And then if you go and ask them what you are doing, they say that I'm making merit. And what do you mean making merit? And they said that, okay, if I give the food to the monks, and I will get back in something in return, so all my good luck or all my good deeds, and they think that is a good deeds. And that is a very folk level of understanding. But we monks, we always teach that is not. But you give it, the way you give, you share your whatever you got it. For example, if you share a portion of food, you got it to someone else, not only the monk, someone else. It means that you have reduced your greed, you have reduced your attachment to that. So that is a way to detach, and then you give it freely, not as investment. And you give it for the sake of that monk, not for your sake. But people say that, oh, by the power of giving this and that, let me have this and that. That is not a punya. That is not a merit making. That is a investment. That is a great investment. So, but if it's a true kind of a punya that could be making is that you give someone to cleanse your mind. You do some kind of voluntary work in order to find to cleanse your ego-ness, the ego idea. So all this thing is what you call is merit in Buddhism. So merit in a sense that it is not something is a material merit. It is something, whatever action you do it, whatever speech, whatever thought you do it, if it cleans your greed, hatred, and ignorance, and that is a true merit called punya.